I would say good morning, but it's not morning for some of you. So good day. How are things unfolding for you right now? Just going to ask you that question, give you a moment to nod into that. I would say it has certainly been a very interesting week in my quarters. Yeah. Um, there's so much. You know, when we journeyed so deeply to Tibet last Monday on the Wesak, it really uh it really was meant to stir it up. Because what are we going to stir up? We're going to stir up our perception of this reality. And we perceive this reality as limited. We do. We're going to run into things. We're going to have to stop. We're going to have to sleep. We're going to have to eat. There's just perception limitations. Very interesting here. And we're on that journey right now of investigating how we can be here and at the same time beginning to reach through the veil. And I will say that the veil is another word for veil is Maya. And for those of you who've been with me for a long time, we've done a lot of work with with all, well, my 400, give or take, delineations of the veil and how it shows up and why it shows up. Because usually the veil is programmed into us from our experiences. And if you look at anybody out there who's committed a serious crime, something happened to them to program that towards that. And this is where the nature of compassion comes in. No matter how egregious we perceive people, um, and a lot of times we see people who perhaps look to us like, well, they grew up with money and they grew up with power and, et cetera, et cetera. But, perhaps the parents were drilling things into them. Perhaps someone made fun of them. So it's tough sometimes, but when you're ready to kind of judge someone, my new spiritual hack, the upward spiral, going clockwise, of course. So there's no limit to perception. Who'd I hear that from? Who'd I hear that from? Well, I heard it through the grapevine from my dad. I'm gonna tell you a story. It's a good one, and we're kind of involved in this story in a very sublime way. So on, well, let's just say this, our second mother, who was with my dad for 10 years and who's the mother of my best friend. So I've known her since I was 17. And she's always had that kind of mindful eye towards me. And she's just lovely, woman full of adventure and stories. Oh, and one of those, got to get it done. We're going to do it. And beautiful. I mean, she won a beauty contest. She's just beautiful. Well, she's in her process of passing. And so my friend got a reading for her because she's probably in the final weeks of her passing process. So someone goes, well, there's someone here and his name is Edward, but that's not quite it. It's Ed, and they said Bud because my dad's nickname his whole life was Bud. His dad's name was also Edward. So Bud had a very powerful, powerful message for Betty. But I'm going to tell you first about his passing. On Monday, the 20th of January, my sister Mia, who's part of us, she's with us now, she was down in Orange County, 3.5 hours away, sitting with Dad. It was 10 in the morning, and she's like, well, I'm just going to listen to this out loud because people are coming in and out. They were taking care of him. And so she's got the iPhone there and she's listening as we do a whole journey to go 5D and 6D. I remember very clearly. It was all about going 5D. So she listens to the whole thing, and meanwhile, he's pretty unconscious and had been for a day or two. Maybe he would vaguely mumble something. Over the last week, he was barely with us. So and she leaves, and less than 24 hours later, he passes. He just, whew, I say my dad slid off the planet. He just slid off. No medication, just like, time to go. Well, you know what I think helped him go like that quickly? The meditation. So now he's in the room with the spirit reader and my friend and her mom. And so Bud has a message. He goes, "Oh, Betty, there's no limit to perception. There's no limit to where you can go in the dimensions. You just go. When you leave here, you just go as high as you can. There's just no limit. You just go." I don't think my dad ever used the word dimension except if he was talking about measuring something because he was an engineer. Well, it's got to be 3 feet by 6 feet by 8 feet. But he certainly never used the word dimension in that realm. So I want to tell you that there's no limit. And we're preparing. And we may be preparing and retaining the body. And we may be preparing and we shift to another dimension, but are alive. Or we may wait the whole thing out. And okay, I'm about 92. I think it's time to go. We don't know. But we know that we're very called to do the work. Very called to do the work. So today we're going to remind ourselves that what happened last week is that we journeyed into this beautiful Wesak Valley, and these avatar frequencies were there, and they were so beautiful. And of course, the Buddha came in from the east because at the exact time of the full moon, and it was gorgeous. And today, because some of you are joining us and joining me in this journey and adventure, we're going to talk a little bit about these avatars. Now, we're really accustomed to thinking them in human form. Like, well, Buddha has had a body, and Christ had a body, and well, maybe Tara, we think she did. She might be a legend. We don't know. But ultimately, what these are their frequencies. And the frequencies have come in through ceremony, through religious and spiritual practices, have come in and have had an effect on our frequencies. So we resonate, definitely 3D and 4D and then 5D and 6D, but these are seventh dimensional. That's their most dense aspect is the seventh dimension, but it goes up higher and higher, possibly all the way to the 15th dimension. At some point, who's counting, right? We're just happy to get to this to the seventh, went through them. So what we encountered first was Christos, and Christos is the preliminary initiator of our path into the higher dimensional realms. It's all about doing it through love, isn't it? Unconditional love. Christos has this frequency has a very unique pathway to get us to our awakened self. You'll see here the equilateral cross. And in any situation that you're feeling a little like this, just move the energy up and left to right. Move the energy up and left to right. And you do that, and it can change a situation in a split second. And sometimes you just do it in your mind, right? You're just like, so let's look at Christos. So Christos initiates intent. This is the initiator. This is the intent to evolve. This is the intent to ascend. This is the intent to awaken. Christos is the initiator, and it means initiation or anointing in Greek. Then at this, there's this point where you got to surrender. You got to surrender. And that surrendering is it's ego. It's ego. And of course, we're going to walk around with our egos because we got to get stuff done. We got to be in our thinking head. But there comes points in the day where you just go, I just have to surrender. Like at a traffic light. Most of the time I get green lights everywhere. I wasn't feeling that well on Friday and Saturday. And everywhere I went, there was the long traffic light. And, I wasn't thinking straight and everything. I had to surrender. And I told myself that, you know what, just surrender. And then all of a sudden, it really made a difference. Illuminate the path with your light. Illuminate the path. And just say, I am light. I am divine light. Right? I am the soul. I am light divine. I am love. I am will. I'm evolving design. And that is the initiation pathway. It really is. So then from there, we expand our awareness. We just expand our awareness. Just let the field move out. Let the field know that you're powerful and that you hold those I ams in you and move it out and walk around. Be the Christos walking around and emanate love. And Sri Namasate, kind of like Namaste, but it's Sri. Sri is this. Sri is the heart. Sri is the mastery, the master of the heart. Sri Namasate. And by the way, I have a whole deck of these cards. If anybody really wants to know all 20 of them, get a hold of me and I'll get some to you. Okay. Next, we move on to Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara is a very powerful being. It's just this kind of dot for a symbol. Sanat Kumara is the dot. And there's a lot of beings. I went and looked up pictures, tried to get illustrations, but Sanat Kumara is not some blonde dude from Venus. Now, Sanat Kumara is a frequency present that is very, very powerful, and in many ways allows us to come into our own presence. So, the beautiful thing, the beautiful thing is that it asks us to engage with silence. Engage silence. I'm writing a chapter now about thoughts. When you engage silence, thoughts get to go bye-bye. And that is a definite spiritual hack, okay? Engage silence and your 3 steps on your path. Invoke presence. It can be your own divine presence. It can be the presence of Sanat Kumara. It can be the Christos. It can be, but invoke presence and nod. Invoke presence and nod. And right away, I feel it coming in. I hope you do too. Very powerful. Wow. And when presence comes into wherever space I'm in, I hear the little cracks, the crackles in the building. And so we're getting it. It's coming in, we're getting it. Thank you. And um turning this room, your room, into a sanctuary. This is what we're doing. I want you to really feel like the space you live in is becoming your sanctuary, a temple. And then at some point, you have to relinquish yourself. It's like, okay, the thoughts, the feelings, the this, the that's, the complaining, just relinquish it to presence. And then have this intent to express source, because you are source. I'm source. Everything's source. Express source. This is enlightenment. Express source. And then actualize as one. This is a very, very, very powerful path. It's a very powerful path. And you just read these and you kind of nod, okay, okay. Yeah, and follow that path down and get a little pinpoint of it and start working that through your system. Very beautiful and very powerful. Okay, then we have the Buddha. The Buddha. The Buddha in the Himalayas. And the Buddha, we have decided, is about freedom. True freedom. Freedom from the constraints of Maya, illusion, the world, the mind. Freedom. So here with Buddha, Buddha comes along and says, let's talk about this path of enlightenment. The world religions always were asking God to come down and do things for them, but never giving those humans the idea that they could become God. Even though they already are the one, there's always this separation, and this was for control. So these beings up here said, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And you have to pay us money as well in many situations. So yeah, there's a different pathway. And Buddha just says, intend enlightenment. And then acknowledge your suffering. Just acknowledge it. You don't get into it. You just acknowledge it. Yeah, there's suffering in the world. And what happens then, and my thing with suffering is, you know what? This too shall pass. And it's true. This too shall pass. Whether it's in a moment or it's in a millennia, this too shall pass. Cultivate, this is what we're doing. We're really following this path right now. Cultivate detachment. Yeah, just where you observe something with detachment. And then what happens when you do that, let's say a challenge is afoot. And so that's suffering. A challenge equals suffering. And so you go, well, I can really get into this and complain, or I can just know that this too shall pass. Well, what happens when you detach? You liberate the truth of why you manifested that suffering, that challenge. In every single thing that comes to you, which is for you, it's a lesson to be learned. and then the blessing to be earned. And once you get through these paths and you can do these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you begin to emanate freedom. Freedom from it has to be your way. Yes, we have intent, but your real true intention really, really, really should, if I may use that word, be towards your own self-realization, your own awakening. And everything else you just give a little nod to. Yes, I must attend to this in this moment. Okay. But really, there's certain beings that have been able to really do this to become free. And let me tell you, their field is so huge. You know, some of the really special beings who have really been forced to do the work, to suffer, 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 suffer. I'm thinking about Amma. If you've ever read her story, oh my golly, what she had to go through. And one day she just woke up and then she just moves through life in the moment. Sometimes she sleeps, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she eats, sometimes she doesn't. She's free. And when you're in her field, you go, something jangles and it sets a whole other thing in motion. It's very cool. And Mane Padme Hum. We know that one. We know that mantra. Okay, then, yes, we had Sibalin. And Sibalin, it's really interesting. I looked on the internet, could not find one reference to that name anywhere. They liked siblings, but no reference. So what I want to say about Sibyllin is she is the mystery. She is the mystery, and we engaged with her through the valley floor. She rose up through us. So on the left, her frequency is about stirring that innate creative passion that we all have. A divine feminine, yes. And then entice power. And power is it's kind of just the force, the life force, just whoosh, up. And it has a little bit more of a masculine feel to it. And then let them mingle. Release control. Release control and absorb the bliss. And I know some of you experience this often. Well, I shouldn't say that. During our work on last Monday. But this is, and each one of you has, shall we say, a resonance with one of our 20 Crystallis code avatars, and one that we more readily bring through. And at some point, I find a way to initiate all of you to this. But Sibyllin is the energy I hold as the mystery. So here's the deal. Here's what I discovered through the jolt that we got from these 4 avatar frequencies that initiated us in a particular we'll just say perhaps it's not even initiated on our path, it just kind of gave it a little power charge. And perceptual programming. And what happened is one morning I woke up and I saw this little, it almost looked like one of these. I happen to have one on my, see if I can get it. One of these little cards that go in cameras. On the back, it's got these little kind of metal things that, so that was in there in my sacrum, and I'm like, okay, now what? And they go, well, you've got to remove that. I go, okay, why? Well, that is programming your perception to only be 3D. I said, well, okay. So today we're going to call in the so no and do a meditation and see how I'm to help you all do this. Now, if you look at this is all of them right here. This is all of the 4 avatars that worked with us. So beautiful picture, isn't it? I just love it. I might have to send it all out to you today. Okay, so you can just stay in meditation with this photo, or you can close your eyes and let us be guided. First come into love, love, love. I'm going to sweep a few of those through the field. Love, 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 love. And we're going to attune our field. And I want you all to have the intention of surrendering into our field. So you gently drop the cloak of ego perception and let it fall away from you. There you go. Shifting into our awaken crystalline frequency body. And now join me in invoking the flow of so no. And that is the intuitive flow that moves from the higher dimensions into in the back door to our third eye, activates that third eye. We're going to allow some activation time here. There we go. Yes. Yes. Oh, nice. Other people are coming in to be included. How lovely. Huh? Okay. Okay. And allow the sono to move directly down the center of your spinal cord. And watch it move. And then it's going to shift. Once it hits the sacrum, it's going to anchor there for a moment. And then it's going to fluctuate, kind of fluctuate backwards and then back into place. backwards into the sacrum and back into the spinal nerves. Because what it's doing is going to touch into that anchored perceptual limitation program. Right there. And it's going to flutter at it. Touch and away, touch and away, touch and away. It's like little tiny nudges. And now I want you to really put your attention into your sacrum. And you might even feel it starting to move a little bit. You might even feel an ache, bit of an ache there. So it moves in and releases, moves and releases. And then we release that little piece. Good. And we bring in the Christos frequency from the heart, and let it flow down into that programming. So reprogramming the chip, shall we say. Christos. The path to love. And the next, we pull down and through the entire spinal, well, we'll say brain, spinal cord, and spinal nerves, all the way down that pathway. And Sanat Kumara is up way even beyond the soul star. It's coming down as a, let's say, an initiating program for presence. It's an installation, I think is a good word. Installation and an entrainment to enhance your inclination to be present. So as it passes through the head, the brain, the prefrontal cortex, all that, it's saying, hey, no need to be so much here. Drop down into presence. 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 So have that be your initiatory impulse to be present. And this will supplant over time the urge to control. Every time we control something, we just double down on 3D. There you go. Good. It might feel a little achy there for a moment. Okay, good pathway, beautiful beings. Good pathway. Yeah. I'm going to just get a little bit more established for us all. Good. Okay. So keep that going. Now we awaken third eye with Buddha. Buddha. Buddha's very present here. Om Mani Padme Hum. Buddha's registering now in your third eye. Not so much to be in your sacrum, but to be in your third eye. And if you want, you can visualize that diamond shape and draw it. Okay, I'm getting a strange instruction. Okay, so you're going to start at the top of the third eye. You're going to go with your kind of the right side down, the right side down, the left side up, the left side up. Okay, so you're going to draw the diamond in a clockwise fashion 3 times. Number 3, and now you're going to flip it so it faces the other way, faces to the back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and flip. Flip. Do that a couple times just to get the gist of it. And I'm hearing that if you find yourself in a situation where you're over mentalizing, stop, draw that diamond shape 3 times, and then rapidly flip it. And that should feel really, really, really good. And these are installations, they will remain with you. And then finally, we're moving into that sacrum, and we're noting that there's a right side, left side, and a middle. And the right side, we're nodding to and engaging with that creative flow that moves us to move, moves us to move. Feel it. And it moves us. It moves our body. Yeah. And then as that keeps wiggling kind of back and forth, I call it the sachet. The sachet. Okay. Right side now. the empowered force that is the energy behind it all moving, the commanding force. There we go. And then the middle, which is love, we're going to let those two kind of crisscross back and forth as they pay homage to the love force moving up, the love force moving up, the sacred dance, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, that which we get to celebrate by being in these bodies. Yeah. Feel that move up in the most graceful and fluid way possible. Yeah. Yes. And I'm hoping that at some point today, you all get to go feel these four frequencies. Maybe you put on some music. Maybe you go for, a walkabout um, in the, in the neighborhood. Or perhaps you do a journey with some beautiful music. Beautiful music. Okay, so now we're going to just do an assess Christos. Christos. Now, Christos is in the heart, but Christos has also put a surrogate into the sacrum. So that we come from love. Yes. And then Sanat Kumara, overlighting presence, in training us to be presence. 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 And just note that whenever you are present and then you affirm your I am love, I am light, I'm will, I'm peace, I'm freedom. It is so in your field, and it is so for whoever is in your field. And it's just so beautiful to be able to share that without having to do anything. You just be, and it upticks that which is around you. Free to be. Free to be free of 3D so that little by little, you're able to go, well, I have a preference, but whatever. Noting your preference, what's the best thing in this moment? I surrender. It just makes things go so much easier when we can do that. Free to be and free to be awakening. And then Sibalin, Sibalin is just the mystery. We don't know how it's going to all go down. We just don't. So, yummy. Invite, invite, invite. Sibalin offers you added energy, but you can't tie it down because it is the mystery. It's kind of fun that way, not knowing. And that is what really helps disentangle the programming. So now we're going to call those angels back from last time. We're going to call those angels back because every time we do one of these, it's going to shake stuff up for you. And you got to maybe go back and listen to some or all of this to get the formula. This is a formula. But we're going to ask those winged beings to be present, to be invoked. They're probably going to need you to call upon them. Like, any little help here, any little help here. And they'll come. Yeah, I had a little miracle. Yeah, with those angels, they just came in and they took care of a little health thing for me. Just I'm like, good job, you guys. Wow. Thank you. So I want you to remember a couple things. Everything that comes to thee is for thee. It's either a lesson to be learned or a blessing to be earned. And usually the lesson learned just transmutes into a blessing because usually every good lesson has a really good reward. Oh, yeah. And then this too shall pass. But I'm suffering. Yeah, this too shall pass. Okay. All right, beautiful beings. We have up leveled. We have up leveled. We have done it.
Hey Val,
Yes.
Cybele was a powerful Phrygian and later Roman goddess revered as the great mother of the gods. She was associated with fertility, nature, healing, and protection, and her cult was characterized by ecstatic rituals and frenzied worship.
Okay, there we are.
Cybele's name, derived from the Greek word kybele, meaning hair, reflects her association with the wild and natural world.
Okay, so what you're gonna do, what you're
So
gonna
under there, it also says like her. There was something particular in here. There's a lot of dance mentioned. Anyway, I sent the link to
okay,
you.
that would be awesome. I'm gonna send it out to everybody.
It's in the this chat, but I also sent it to you on text. So there
Okay,
you go.
I think that will work best. Um, so the interesting thing is when I originally heard Sibalin, I spelled it C-Y-B, Sib, Lynn. And this went on for a while. But then one day I woke up and it was like, this is how you must spell it. And I think what it almost has a little bit of a Middle Eastern, like I look at that name, it almost feels Middle Eastern to me. And I think, we need to include all of these manifestations, whether it be, Gaia or Tara or Buddha or Christ, all of them have come through and humans have done what they've done with it. But this is what we're doing with it, is we're utilizing it for the good of you, the up-leveling of you, and ultimately for the good of all. So I want to thank the sister for sharing that. And I definitely will send that link out to you all. If I don't have your email, it's you can send it to me at classes@panharmonic.com. All right. Namaste, Sri Namasate. Om. Have a beautiful, beautiful day and a very assisted week. Call upon them.